managing that transition. And I guess from my side, work with clients and see the good and the bad of how that transition can go. There's a couple of things like the financial aspect of stopping job to starting a job. What's that time frame? Do you go without? Is there a 2-week gap that you're not getting paid from when you last got paid to it? A lot that goes into it, which I'm not sure if everyone fully anticipates. And obviously there's the transition of potentially moving to a different job where I have to actually move house. And there's obviously that as a bigger aspect. But I think just that planning that change is an interesting one because a lot of people, one, there's understanding the contract, understand what you're going to get paid. But I had a conversation with someone the other day. They were saying, okay, I'm just about to change jobs in 2 weeks' time. And she said there's a gap between about a month from when I stop my job to when I start my new job, which I'll take a little holiday because I haven't had a holiday in a little while. And she said, I'm going from getting paid monthly to then getting paid weekly, which is like, this is great. But is this a month gap or is this a 2-month gap in pay? So there was a month gap in job, but was it a month gap in pay or a 2-month gap in pay? And she was like, how do I find that out? I was like, one, read your employment contract to see when you get paid. And then she's like, I'm nervous. She's like, it doesn't say, it just says we get paid weekly. On Monday, I was like, get paid on a Friday. Because her last job, say, ended on the 15th of last month. She's not starting this job until the 15th of the month after, but then she's not going to get paid until the following Friday because that's when the payroll runs. So it's now we're like 6 weeks. So she's thinking I've just got a gap of 4, but it's actually a gap of 6 weeks. So if we're living week to week, which unfortunately a lot of people do, a 6-week gap is huge versus she was thinking it was a 4-week gap. So it's thinking about that transition. And my suggestion was 1, read the employment contract. 2, just call HR, say, hey, starting a new job next week. Just kind of ask, when's pay run? Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Like, when do you process pay? What's your experience been with that of stopping and starting jobs?
I've been pretty fortunate in the sense that I've never stopped a job before. For example, when I picked up the job with SeaWorld Cruises in sales and marketing, I was still working at the Hilton. And it was a very simple conversation with my boss saying, hey, listen, I've taken a new job. I'm only available Monday to Friday. However, I am available on the weekends. That wouldn't have changed if I'd have left the job altogether. And this has been my biggest advice is never leave your current job until you've got a new job. Forget the guilt. The company doesn't care. I'll tell you right now, they really don't care if you're looking for a new job. In fact, they probably know in today's climate, you probably are looking for a new job. Don't come out and tell them.
Especially when you update your LinkedIn, it makes it all pretty and looks nice.
Totally. Yeah, you got a new profile pick up and your current job's gone and you got new references. They know. Especially in this climate, I would expect, even for me, when people came for interviews or I'm working with guys and I see on their search history, Seek, or there's an email sitting there that they've applied for a new job. That's the reality. That'll be my first advice. Number 1, do not take a new job until you have finished at your current place of employment. And what that does is that stops that gap. So you can then say, what is the start date for my new job? January the 1st. Okay. I go back to my employer and say, I have an announcement, everyone. On December the 31st will be my last day here at Hilton Surfers Paradise. I'm commencing a new job on January the 1st at Star Casino. You've given them 4 weeks worth of notice. Okay. You've obliged your contract. You can work out that 4 weeks when you can take annual leave, long service, whatever you want to take during that time. Okay. You haven't done anything wrong. The only time, to be honest, is when you're about to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Not at the beginning, at the end. You're honest at the beginning, you get 5 hours a week as a casual.
Yeah.
Be honest at the end. Hey guys, I picked up a new job. I finish on December the 31st. I'll be starting January the 1st. I will work right up until December the 31st. And that way you don't miss the pay cycle. Whether they pay weekly, fortnightly, monthly, that would be my first and most important advice. Do not leave your current job, even if you found a new one.
Yeah.
Make sure you give that buffer that you work and you finish one job and you start another.
Just planning, having some foresight, reading the numbers. Obviously, there's the part of when am I going to get paid? Yeah. That's an important one, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, it's planning ahead, knowing what that gap is. And then also factoring in any other changes of if you're working and live in Robina and got a job at town centre, for instance, but now you take a job in Southport. Yeah. Previously, your fuel bill was $20 a week because you could either walk to work or it was a short drive and to drive 30, 45 minutes either to the city in Brisbane, that type of thing, which I've gone through a lot with clients is they've actually, okay, well, now the commute cost, it was previously cost $50 a week to get to and from work each week on fuel. And now I'm catching the train and now it's like $150.
Yep.
So factoring that in is one that I feel like a lot of people don't do is they just focus purely on the salary side.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, cool, I'll get paid an extra $5,000 a year if I change jobs. But what they don't realize is they factor in the commute, factor in all those extra costs that they didn't really fully realize. And it's like, okay, what's actually, if it's purely the numbers, job satisfaction, all that kind of stuff is another point, but it's actually understanding that to know, making a fully informed decision and then planning ahead to say, okay, I'm stopping this day, starting that day, making sure my budget can accommodate that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you get a $10,000 bay bump, if you're working in Logan, you're stuck in traffic for 3 hours a day. That's the honest reality. So you're probably going to fill the car up 3 times as much as usual. And then if you're moving house, I know what, rent is expensive these days. So where's that 10 grand going? So if you're going to start a new job and you get a 10 grand pay bump, I hope you love your job, because that 10 grand's going to your expenses. So foresight financially, and then time wise. Yeah, making sure that there is no gap in between. Don't give the company the middle finger and then go, I'll go find a new job. You'll burn through that real quick. And I'll tell you what, I've done it. Yeah, because I did it when I left Seaworld Cruises. I was actually fired from Seaworld Cruises and I wasn't working anywhere. I was still on the payroll at both the Star Casino and the Hilton. But there was a period of 2 weeks where I had to dip into the savings. I'm telling you now, it's always more than you expect. But I thought, I'll be sweet, 1,500, I'll be fine. I had to spend a lot more money during that time just to cover the distance between getting fired and then starting at the casino and the Hilton again.